Hi, I'm Allie.
And I'm Becky.
We are registered dietitians that are passionate about food as medicine.
In this video, we are going to be talking about why processed foods are not just empty calories, but are in fact harmful. And we'll be going into 5 major impacts of consumption of processed foods.
The processed food industry spends billions of dollars annually marketing our government as lobbyists, as well as spending media dollars advertising to Americans. In fact, children alone are marketed over $2 billion of commercials pushing ultra-processed foods on their plates. What's concerning is these ultra-processed foods trend with significant health consequence. In fact, as we've seen ultra-processed foods comprise greater than 50% of the average American's diet, we're seeing an influx of obesity, as well as cardiovascular disease, diabetes, fatty liver, and other metabolic concerns. We're seeing sarcopenia, such as muscle wasting, even being impacted at children whose bodies should be growing and developing muscle mass. We're seeing concerns on mental health, such as depression, anxiety, ADHD, behavioral disorders, and autism all on the rise. We're seeing skyrocketed concerns of cancer, autoimmune disease, digestive disturbances, onslaught of food sensitivity and allergy, just to name a few.
Yes, and unfortunately, our government, through farm subsidies, makes it a lot more affordable to afford these ultra-processed foods with 10 plus ingredients versus real whole foods. Now, that financial impact is probably going to hit you on the other end at the doctor's office or with hospital and medical bills, because likely we're going to see driving chronic disease, loss of productivity, and even loss of quality of life.
Yes. It's important to understand that everything you put in your body has an influence on your system on a cellular level or a molecular level. In fact, when we consume foods, these influence our biochemistry and how our body functions. So food as medicine is truly a double-edged sword. It's both limiting these ultra-processed foods, which can drive inflammation, disrupt your microbiome, and these 5 scary reasons why you should avoid them that we're about to share. Whereas food as medicine is going to provide an abundance of nutrients that supports how your body functions.
For more on that, you can check out this video of what is a whole food and learn to define these foods for yourself.
All right, so getting to the 5 reasons why we feel that these ultra-processed foods are harmful. The first one is that we'll see depletion of antioxidants in the body. In fact, this study here showed that redox reactions are increased significantly when an individual is exposed to ultra-processed foods. So these foods stress the body, depleting our antioxidants, and antioxidants are used in demand to offset oxidative stress. When we see lower levels of antioxidant, this trends strongly with all-cause mortality and can limit the body's ability to combat infection.
Number 2 is that these foods can actually disrupt our hormones. This study here shows that ultra-processed foods drive higher exposure to phthalates and other microplastics that can function as endocrine disruptors. These can drive hormonal imbalance in a multitude of ways, everything from infertility to PCOS to estrogen dominance, imbalanced cycles, and beyond.
Yes, in fact, we're seeing an early onset of puberty in our youth based on the exposure of these endocrine disruptors. And it doesn't just stop at the plastics in the packaging of these processed foods. We even see it through pesticides that are applied to many of the refined grains used in these products. Atrazine, shown in this study, drives estrogen dominance in the body, and this is one of the proposed reasons why we're seeing this earlier onset of puberty. The chemical additives on the agricultural level are seen to be in a higher presence in processed foods.
And then not to mention the impact of soy in processed foods, and that is a known endocrine disruptor as well. It's hard to find an ultra-processed food that doesn't have some soy derivative in its ingredient label.
Absolutely. The third reason that we recommend avoiding processed foods is that they're going to drive dysglycemia, elevated blood sugar levels, or blood sugar imbalance. So when we take a whole food and we process it down, we're going to be stripping it of not only its vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, but we're also losing fiber. Fiber plays a huge role on blunting the glycemic index of our foods. And when we see processed foods, they're often also having 3, 4, or 5 kinds of added sugars in their ingredient composition. Refined excessive sugars paired with lack of fiber drives blood sugar dysregulation, which can drive risk factor for diabetes as well as weight gain.
Not only are these foods lacking in minerals and other important vitamins that our body needs, they also are going to actually drive deficiency. And that's reason number 4 that we want to avoid these ultra-processed foods. We know that sugar in and of itself, when we consume sugar, our body actually is going to burn through higher levels of magnesium, B vitamins, and a mineral called chromium that aids in processing of sugar. But if we're eating excessive sugar, we're going to burn out on those nutrients. And then not to mention food dyes. We've actually seen research that artificial colorants can deplete minerals such as zinc and manganese, and depletions of said minerals are linked to ADHD and other behavioral issues.
The 5th reason to avoid processed foods is that they don't register as satiating as whole foods. In fact, we see overeating tendencies, and then this causes obesity. In fact, this study here was a really well-designed 2-week crossover research study where they took individuals and gave them an ad lib diet where they were provided the same or similar amounts of macronutrients at each meals and same calorie amounts at each meals of an ultra-processed food diet or a whole food-based diet. The individuals in the whole food-based diet ate less and lost weight, whereas those during the 2-week window of the ultra-processed food diet gained about 9 pounds. And this data was repeated when the same individuals crossed over and tried the alternate diet.
Now, not only did participants experience satiety with whole real foods, but they also reported in terms of pleasantness scores and acceptability scores that they enjoyed the real food diet just the same.
So as you make your daily food choices, it's important to know that there's food scientists and marketers working against you, actually constructing these foods with additives, stabilizers, and chemicals that can drive addictive tendency and interfere with satiety, driving this overeating. And yet again, eating whole real foods can yield just as much joy, but support better metabolic outcomes. To close things out, we can even see this study here, which showed a 9% reduction in life expectancy from those eating ultra-processed foods.
If you're looking for inspiration on how to make a whole foods diet switch or bring in more food as medicine to your lifestyle, check out our 12-week keto meal plan, which will guide you through 12 full weeks of what to eat for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and even snacks, and is made for the entire family to enjoy.
Check out the code below to download our meal plan and receive 100+ whole food recipes and start to see the benefits of food as medicine in your whole household.
Be sure to like this video, leave a comment below with something that you learned, and subscribe to the Naturally Nourished YouTube channel so you never miss one of our bi-weekly releases.